And Ohemeng Tawiah is back online with us. Ohemeng, you were telling us about what happened after the expose was aired, and we kept the internet or the connection was just so bad. So can you start all over again?
Yes, sweetie. So after the expose, then on December 20th, the police team left the Ashanti Regional Police Headquarters at Doom to raid the illegal mining site at the Anua-Futu side of the tunnel of shelter bed forest reserve. So when we entered the site, usually with the Galamsey site, you meet metal or even wooden barricades erected by the illegal miners, and they are manned by security. In this instance, those who were manning this point were national security operatives who were armed to the teeth. Because I saw pump action guns, these are latest pump action guns. And immediately the police team entered. They first arrested those at the barrier. Then those arrested were handcuffed and put in the custody of 2 police officers for the team to enter the site proper. When we entered the site, it's a very vast area. Then we got to the last point where these illegal miners had been mining, and you could see the large tracts of the forest, green forest that has been destroyed, and the gold washers were on, the gold washing machines were on, the water pumping machines were on, and they were in brisk business. But unfortunately, we didn't meet anybody at this site. Then those in charge, the excavator operators that the police team sent, were trying to track the excavators back, because the point and the arrangement was that the police had said they would take the excavators to the Yinahini police station. And when the owners come for them, they can be arrested to face the law. Whilst at this site, a call came through from the police officers who were at the entrance that the illegal miners had regrouped, the security men had regrouped and mounted 2 more barriers outside the first one that we met. Then the police team decided to move to the entrance. We came to meet these large, illegal miners, their security operatives, dressed in military camouflage, some with hoods all over. You cannot even see their faces. And they started making demands that first, police have to release the security men that they have arrested, and also return the seized arms that they took from the illegal miners. And then they were also insisted that police release money, mobile phones, and wrappers of gold that they took. And then also the last demand was that the JoyNews team will have to surrender our camera for them to take a look at the images that we have taken at the site. So then they started, all these demands were made whilst they were they were agitating. And you could see their numbers kept growing, their numbers kept increasing, to the point that the miners had introduced a first reinforcement. So the first reinforcement came, and they were also dressed in military camouflage. By this time around, they were armed more than the first military team that we met at the site. And so they started deflating the tires of the buses that we went to the site with. At that time, myself and the camera technician and some excavator mechanics and operators were on board. And police has said that we should remain on board so that they deal with the situation. Then they started deflating the tires of the buses, and then they started also pelting us, throwing stones at the bus. And I saw the first person being hit in the head by one of the stones. He collapsed in the vehicle, and then you could see blood oozing all over. And myself, I was the second person to be hit by the stone. And in the midst of all these agitations, I saw the assemblyman for Anyefutu, Kechiri Opoku, somebody I had interviewed on November 30th, present in the midst of the illegal miners, shouting on top of his voice that he has spoken to the district police commander, and that the police commander says he has no idea, he has no knowledge of the operation of the police team, and that everybody, all of us at the premises were armed robbers, were criminals, and that is why the police commander is not aware. So all these comments appear to have incited the illegal miners and emboldened them. And so immediately I was hit by the stone. I fell in the vehicle, and you could see I started bleeding, blood all over, to the point that I saw a unit committee member. When I spoke to the assemblyman on that particular day, there were 2 unit committee members present. So I saw him and called him, "Chief, kindly help us." And he was very, he felt so uncomfortable that myself and the camera technicians were in the bus and we have been attacked. So he tried to offer some support to lead us out of the bus. And the camera technician had to be pulled through the window of the bus. So whilst we were being escorted by the unit committee member, we were running. Then the people, the illegal miners, the security men started, approaching us, and I had to shout on top of my voice. This time around, I'll say I had my JoyNews jacket on. So we're shouting, we are not armed robbers. Some for if you JoyNews. So wait, we are not armed robbers. We are journalists from the JoyNews team, and we have come here just to cover events as unfold. But these people were still, coming all over us. And then the assembly member, also the unit committee member, also had to shout on top of his voice. When he realized the attacks were, becoming so pronounced, me a unit committee, me a committee member. So to wait, he is from the community, he lives there with them, and he's a member of the unit committee. So he had to be freed in that manner. But at the point I realized he left me because the people were so many. They had, those who had joined the attack on us were so many. Then I was hit on
Ohemeng, sorry to interject. How did he leave you? How did he escape the attack?
In fact, when the security men, their numbers were increasing and he was shouting on his voice, it's like at that point, he had to run for his life. So I cannot say what exactly he did, but at that moment, he was not with us. He was the one leading us to safety, but I couldn't find him because the numbers had swelled. The number of the security operatives had grown and has increased, so he had to leave the scene. Then I was hit on the upper part of my chest by a stone, and it sent me down. All this while I was bleeding. I was, shouting on top of my voice that I'm a journalist from JoyNews TV, and the people pulled. I saw them because when we went there, we spent almost 2 hours. So I saw one of the security men pull a machete. Hello.
Yes, we're going to have more time to expand on these issues because this is not an issue that we can exhaust just today. It's an issue that we'll have to be discussing. But I see, just as we conclude, and it's interesting because when we head over to Parliament's vetting committee or the appointments committee this morning, the one who is going to be in the hot seat, Emmanuel Ama-Kofi-Boa, is the Minister Designate for Lands and Natural Resources, which segues neatly into this conversation. We'll be hearing from him on what they are going to do about illegal mining. But before we go there quickly, Ohemeng, I see some plaster on your head. Can you show us the damage that was done to you?
Yeah, that was the head injury I sustained. And I also sustained some injuries all over my body because you can see I was really stoned. They threw stones at me, tried to sever my legs with machete. So the plaster you see here is the head injury I sustained. Unfortunately for me, this morning, I'm supposed to have gone for a dressing at the hospital, but because of this conversation, I had to put that one on hold. So since then, I've had this plaster on me.
We wish you a very speedy recovery, Ohemeng Tawiah, and we thank you for what you're doing for God and country. We'll leave you to attend to your wounds, and later we shall, when the time is proper, come back to you as we push this agenda forward. Very quickly.